Good morning, guys. Another rainy, cold fall morning. They're actually calling for snow today. So, some of you who watch the channel know I was talking the other day about having something playing with my hair. 3 nights in a row, I woke up just after 3 o'clock and I could feel my hair moving, and it was odd. It wasn't like a chill down the back of my neck or something like that. I was wide awake and I felt like just as if somebody had brushed my hair lightly. And I felt that 3 nights in a row. And the third night, we actually had a really loud bang on the window. And so I told you guys about that. My wife sat up, she heard it too. When I went to set up this little thing this morning, I went to get these candles from around the corner over there. We have a bookshelf. And it reminded me of something that happened last week that I never even gave a thought to. And I'll just throw it out there because it happened. My wife and I and my daughter were here in the kitchen making dinner, and a glass flower vase fell off of the bookshelf over there and smashed on the floor. I'll just show you guys what I was talking about. This bookshelf back here, we've got different vases and things up here, a whole bunch in here. And then on top, and we had right here was another great big flower vase sitting there, and it came off and it smashed all over the floor. And nobody was near it, so it was a little strange. And nobody was near it at all. And so I didn't really think too much about it, didn't really think about it until I went to get these candles, and then I remembered, wait a minute. So we've had a couple of strange incidents happen here. And why I'm mentioning that again is that night, the last night when I was laying in bed thinking, this has happened 3 times in a row now. I'm like, this isn't coincidence. I don't know what it is, but somebody or something is brushing my hair and my skin. I could feel like light fingers on my face and down my arm. And I was trying to figure out, who would that be? And I was thinking a family member, And then I also thought, Carol? Is Carol trying to remind me, hey, you need to get back to this case because it's been about 3 weeks since I've looked at or done anything? And I want to do 2 more Spirit Box sessions with Jimmy the Fox, who we're going to do today. He was one of the accused, James Lavin. So that was his nickname, Jimmy the Fox. And then we're going to do 1 more session after this, and that's going to be with Jack McWilliams, who was our second victim. And then I think that's it in terms of Spirit Box interview sessions. We will go back and finish up our reverse messages from the dead. And I don't know, if Carol comes through, as soon as I said her name, shiver down the back of my neck. If she has anything to say, she's obviously going to interject in these sessions. But moving forward, you guys know that I also try to get the case files. And the courthouse is telling me that the procedure for that is that the case files get sent to archives after so many years. So all of the files that would have been at the courthouse are long gone to archives. And then she tells me that because the case was 60 years old, those archives will probably be destroyed. And the only chance that I might have is through the lawyers, okay? So Donald Kelly's lawyer may have kept some of this stuff. So I would have to contact the Crown Attorney's Office and check their archives. But the chances that they would have a 60-year-old case still on, on a shelf somewhere is pretty slim. So I don't know. I think I was delusional thinking, watching too many of these shows where they just go and get a room full of boxes and they go through it and solve the case. I honestly thought that's what we were going to do at some point, guys. I don't think that's going to happen, so I'm a little disheartened. Let's get into our James Lavin questions. And we're going to use our speaker here and Necrophonic as always. Jimmy, Mr. Fox, were you on the bridge the night Jack and Carol were murdered? Oh, shiver down my neck. I was going to say, feeling connected, feeling that. You guys know my thoughts on this. This isn't random, okay? When I ask a question to this thing and it starts putting out the names, full shiver down my back. Okay, so I just stated that I felt connected, and we were connected because I didn't hear what the box was actually saying at the time until now that I've analyzed it. And I just want to go over it with you guys because, again, at this point, it's beyond unbelievable. Now, I talked about a few of these players' names. We obviously said Jimmy's name. Listen to what the box says. If this was random, how is it setting a scene which took place 60 years ago at a party where kids were murdered? And it says, must go, connect to heaven. We're up. Purest work. Then it says, need correct. Listen. I don't know what they're talking about there. Something needs correcting. I've gotten something wrong, I get the feeling. Here's the important part. It says party. It's all here. Left. Read note. Then it says clear as anything, Ian. He drove. Well, we know there was a car that these guys rented. They debated over who took the keys, who drove the car. It says Ian, he drove. There is no way that a spirit box, full shiver down my arm, is making this story up. This really happened. These guys were at a party. They left. They drove somewhere. Again, it says, Ian, he drove. Later, bullet. Help them get along. Guilty, sick. So, is Jimmy the Fox telling us that Ian resolved this issue with the bullet? Is Ian the one he's saying is guilty and was sick? Because that's the story around town, that everybody said Ian did it. I mean, again, I'm making assumptions here. Whether I'm getting this right or wrong, guys, all of the words and the story, that's irrelevant. The fact is that somebody or something or someone, these guys, these girls, Carol, are coming through this box and telling us about a case from 60 years ago. James, did you have anything to do with the CNR robbery? Were you part of the George Taylor hardware gun heist? How many guns did you steal? Where did you stash the 6,000 silver quarters? We split it. So does that mean... I'm working off my script here, so bear with me, guys. The 6,000 quarters is something I would love to find because that is physical proof tied into a 60-year-old murder. Evidence coming through a spirit box. If they could direct me to that. Now, we know the police said that they found some of the quarters. They didn't say how many buried in a neighbor's yard. They didn't even say, was that from 222 Duke Street, one of their neighbors, Carol and Jack? That's what I assume, but I don't know. And they never said how many. So if these guys split it, like I would assume that they would, 6,000 quarters is heavy. That's a lot of silver, okay? Back in 1969. You're not going to go to the bank with all this silver and cash it in. You're going to hide it somewhere. And I believe that at least one part of it is still buried out there somewhere. They told us that in a previous session, that it's buried. Did Donald Kelly shoot the McWilliams? Did Ian Rose shoot the McWilliams? Tell me about Detective Black. Do any of the original case files, investigative reports, and or evidence still exist for this case? Throughout this investigation, guys, dozens of hours of recordings, I have heard boat many times, but I don't know what that has to do with anything because, as you guys saw, the river is so tiny, there was no boat there. But, I mean, a boat could have anything to do with this case. Did Detective Black or somebody else own a boat? Blackie Plagisi? You know, did bad things happen on the boat? I don't know. Maybe I'm not asking the right questions. Do you want to help me find the truth? James Lavin, are you in heaven? That was all the questions that I had written down for James Lavin. So now, because I don't know how cooperative he was or wasn't, I just don't feel that connection with him throughout this whole thing. I've never felt like he's trying to communicate anything with me. I'm going to ask Carol. There's a shiver down my back as soon as I said her name. I'm sure Carol's here watching and listening, maybe even saying things as this is going on. I can't tell who's saying what, right? Male and female voices come through all the time. Carol, I specifically want to talk to you right now. Is there anything you want to add to this session right now? All right, I guess that's it for this session, guys. Like I say, we'll do one more after this with Jack McWilliams. We'll finish up our reverse messages. And I think that's going to be it for this case. So hope you enjoyed.